The People's Court called me, saying I illegally occupied someone else's property and refused to return it. I have been formally sued. Hearing this, I was completely confused. That's impossible. I have never taken anyone else's thing. But the legal staff's tone was firm. The plaintiff, Joe DeHai, is suing you for occupying the garage number 12 in the West District of Sunshine Garden, which he bought in full, but you refused to transfer the title. You are to appear in court in 3 days. Failure to appear will result in a default judgment. This is absurd. I sold that garage 5 years ago. The money was fully paid and settled. I thought the court had the wrong information. To my surprise, in the property rights system, this garage is still under my name. When the phone rang, I was looking at project blueprints. I casually pressed the speakerphone. Hello. A cold, emotionless female voice came from the other end. Hello. Is this Fu Qing? The party with the ID ending in 3629? Hearing this, my heart skipped a beat. I am. Who am I speaking to? This is the Civil Trial Division of the Municipal People's Court. We are formally notifying you. You have been sued. The cause of action is illegal occupation of private property and refusal to return it. Our court has formally filed the case. The summons has been sent via EMS. It will be delivered to your registered domicile and current address today. Please appear in court at 9 a.m. sharp in 3 days. If you fail to appear without a justified reason, our court will issue a default judgment in accordance with the law. You will bear all the risks of losing the case. As soon as she finished speaking, a chill ran through my body. Illegal occupation of private property? Refusal to return it? I, Fu Qing, have been a project cost engineer for 8 years. I have always played by the rules, let alone occupying someone's property. I don't even have a record of neighborhood disputes. I instinctively frowned and asked, you must be mistaken. I have never occupied anyone's belongings, nor do I have any property disputes. Who is the plaintiff? Where is the location in question? The plaintiff is Joe DeHai. The location in question is the West District of Sunshine Garden, exclusive garage number 12 and its attached storage room. The plaintiff claims that he paid in full for this garage 5 years ago, but the original property owner, after completing the transaction, refused to cooperate with the title transfer and has illegally occupied it long-term, obstructing the plaintiff's use. Multiple attempts to communicate fail, severely infringing on his legal property rights. Sunshine Garden West District, garage number 12. This string of addresses pried open my dusty memories from 5 years ago. I gripped my phone tightly, my voice instinctively lowered. Impossible. This garage. The ownership of real estate is subject to the official files of the Real Estate Registration Center. Currently, the system registers garage number 12, West District of Sunshine Garden, and the right holder is still Fu Qing. The plaintiff holds a complete sales contract, transfer vouchers, receipts, and other transaction evidence. The requirements for a lawsuit are met. Please respond to the lawsuit on time. You can present your evidence and defend yourself in court. After saying this, she didn't wait for me to ask another word. The call was hung up directly, and I, holding my phone, froze at my desk. I was stunned for 3 whole minutes. A colleague nearby peeked over and asked in confusion, Brother Chang, what's wrong? You look terrible. Did something happen? I shook my head, barely suppressing the turbulent shock in my heart. Nothing, just a personal matter. Garage number 12, West District of Sunshine Garden. It was a deeded garage I purchased alongside my house years ago. It came with an independent 12 square meter storage room. The location was great, dry and sheltered from light. It was one of the most highly sought after garages in the entire community. 5 years ago, I upgraded to a larger house and moved out of Sunshine Garden. At that time, I was in urgent need of money, but selling a house and garage separately was difficult. I simply listed them as a bundle for a quick, low-price sale. The buyer was Joe DeHai. I remember it very clearly. It was a Sunday afternoon. Joe DeHai contacted the agent to view the property. He decided to buy it on the spot. Didn't haggle over the price by a single cent. Transferred the full amount directly. Before he left, I specifically reminded him, brother, the garage has a separate title. I've given you all the paperwork. When you have time, you must go to the real estate center to transfer the title. Otherwise, the title will remain under my name, which could cause disputes later. I was even worried he might forget. So I sent the title transfer process, the required documents, and the handling address, typing it out word by word, and sent it to his phone. At that time, Joe DeHai laughed heartily and readily agreed. Don't worry, Brother Chang, I'll find time to do it this week. I won't trouble you. I believed him. The transaction was complete. In the past 5 years, I moved houses, got promoted, and was busy with work. I never asked about this garage again. In my understanding, this garage completely ceased to be mine 5 years ago. But now, the court is telling me the title is still under my name. What's even more outrageous is the Joe DeHai who paid in full back then and promised profusely to transfer the title after 5 years suddenly filed a lawsuit saying I refused to transfer the title and am illegally occupying his garage, hogging his private property. The guilty party filing the suit first. This was the perfect example. I suppressed the anger and confusion in my heart and forced myself to calm down. Don't panic when things happen. Investigate the truth first. This was an instinctive habit I developed from years of working in project cost engineering. I immediately opened my contact, found the contact named Laoguo, the real estate agent's number, and dialed it. Laoguo was the agent who handled my transaction back then. He is reliable, and he keeps backups of all transaction records. The call connected quickly. Laoguo's hearty voice came through. Hello, Xingzi, rare guest. Haven't been in touch for years. How have you been lately? I didn't exchange pleasantries and went straight to the point. Laoguo, something happened. 5 years ago, I sold garage number 12 in the West District of Sunshine Garden to Joe DeHai. That deal. Do you still have the files? Joe DeHai is suing me now, saying I am occupying his garage and refusing to transfer the title. The court summons has already arrived. There was a 2-second silence on the other end, and Laoguo's voice suddenly became serious. What? Sued you? Is he crazy? I remember that deal the clearest. He paid in full on the spot. If the paperwork was all handed over and the deal was settled, how could he turn around and bite you back? Hearing this, I rubbed my temples. That's the problem. The court says in the Real Estate Registration Center's files, the garage's title is still under my name. There has never been a transfer record. Lagwa was completely baffled. Impossible. After signing the contract back then, I reminded him 1,000 times to make sure to transfer the title as soon as possible. I even followed up twice. He kept saying he was busy but would do it right away. I thought after 5 years, it was long done. Now is not the time to dwell on that. Help me check 2 things. First, pull up our sales contract from back then, the transfer records, and the receipt archives to confirm all transaction evidence is complete. Second, help me ask the Sunshine Garden Property Management about the usage records of garage number 12 over these 5 years. Payment records, personnel access status. The sooner the better. I'll wait for your news. No problem. Don't worry. I'll check right now and call you back in 5 minutes. After that, Lagwa hung up the phone. The office returned to silence, but my heart was already churning like a stormy sea. I leaned back in my chair, closed my eyes, and reviewed all the details. 5 years ago, Joe Dahai paid in full for the property. No haggling, no delays. The transaction was incredibly smooth. Over the 5 years, he never contacted me once, never rushed me to transfer the title, never contacted the agent. It was like he had completely vanished. 5 years later, he suddenly appears, without trying to negotiate, without any communication. He directly sues the original owner. When normal people buy a house, their biggest fear is not transferring the title. Unstable property rights. Any buyer with a bit of common sense, even if it was delayed a year or two, would never let it go untransferred for 5 years. Unless, from the very beginning, he deliberately didn't want to transfer it. The moment this thought popped into my head, my back instantly went cold. Deliberately avoiding the title transfer, laying low for 5 years, and suddenly suing. This is not a simple property dispute at all. This is a long premeditated trap. 5 minutes passed in a flash. Lagwa's call came back right on time. I immediately sat up straight. Speak. First, all transaction evidence is complete. I found the electronic contract from back then, scans of the paper contract, Joe Dahai's full payment bank statements, and photos of the receipt you handwrote. All the evidence is there. It 100% proves that 5 years ago, the transaction was completely finished. You fully fulfilled the contract. There is absolutely no problem. Second, the property records are true. In the real estate center's system, the title holder for garage number 12 is still you. 0 title transfers, 0 modifications, 0 filings. Third, and this is the weirdest part, I asked Director Wang from Property Management to check the registration records for the last 5 years, shared water and electricity fees, and garage usage ledgers. These 5 years, garage number 12 has always been in use. Cars are parked there every day. The storage room has a large amount of goods stored long term. Every month, cleaners and security guards witnessed someone going in and out. Hearing this, my pupils suddenly shrank. Who is using it? Joe Dahai? No, it's absolutely not Joe Dahai. From what I found out from everyone at Property Management, no one has ever seen Joe Dahai in 5 years appear at the garage. The user is a strange man. In his 20s, buzz cut. He usually drives a black car. 4 years ago, he started moving in steadily, coming over on time every day to manage the stuff in the garage. What's even stranger is, this person never registers his information with Property Management, never pays any property-related fees. Property Management asked him about his identity several times. He always said he was a friend of the owner, borrowing it temporarily. Property Management doesn't have law enforcement power, couldn't get to the bottom of it, and didn't dare forcibly evict him, so they just let it slide for 4 years. My brain worked rapidly. Countless clues instantly linked together. An absurd and terrifying outline gradually became clear. Buyer Joe Dahai bought it in full, deliberately didn't transfer the title for 5 years, vanished into thin air for 5 years. A strange, mysterious man occupied the garage for free for 4 years, using it long term, storing goods, identity a mystery. After 5 years of silence, Joe Dahai suddenly appears, directly suing me, the original owner who fulfilled the contract long ago, suing me for occupying property. One ring linked to another, full of traps, full of shady tricks. To this, I asked in a deep voice, does Joe Dahai's old phone number still work? After listening, I grabbed my car keys and stood up. Okay, I got it. Lagwa. Package all the evidence and send it to me. Keep the original safe. I'm heading back to Sunshine Garden right now to investigate personally. Do you need me to come over and help? No need, I'll scope it out first. If anything happens, I'll find you. Hanging up the phone, I asked for temporary leave from my boss and drove away from the office building. 40 minutes later, the car drove into Sunshine Garden. The overall changes in the West District weren't big. The exterior walls of the buildings were a bit old, only the underground parking garage had been completely renovated. The barrier gates, surveillance, and lighting systems at the entrance were all replaced, looking much more organized and brighter than 5 years ago. I scanned the code, registered, and entered the underground garage. The familiar spatial layout hit me. I followed the signs for the West District straight ahead. Soon, I saw the rolling shutter door of the garage with the number 12. In an instant, my footsteps stopped. The rolling shutter door in front of the garage was shut tight. The surface was covered in a thin layer of dust. It looked like it had been unattended for a long long time. But looking closely, you could see the gaps in the door were clean and tidy. No accumulated dust. There were fresh friction marks at the bottom of the door. The most crucial part was, in the quiet garage, I clearly heard movement coming from inside the door. The sound of cardboard boxes scraping, and slight opening and closing sounds. There was definitely someone inside. But who could it be? I didn't rashly pound on the door. Instead, I walked to a corner and called Laogua. Laogua called Director Wang at Property Management. Ask him to pull up the real-time surveillance of the underground garage in the West District, right in front of Garage 12, right now, and take me to check the video backups for the last 6 months. Also, I'm at the garage door right now. There's someone inside. Laogua's voice instantly tensed up. Someone? Really? I'll contact Director Wang immediately. I'll let you know in 2 minutes. Don't do anything reckless. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I hung up the phone and came to the garage door again. Less than 3 minutes later, a faint sound of a motor turning began. The tightly shut rolling shutter door suddenly rolled up from the inside. A man with a buzz cut appeared at the doorway. With a vigilant and fierce look, he sized me up. Then, the buzz cut man spoke first. What are you doing standing at my garage door? To this, I raised my eyebrows and met his gaze directly. Your garage? The title for this garage is still under my name. Since when did it become yours? The buzzcut man's expression changed slightly, then he sneered. His tone arrogant. I've lived here for 4 years, managed it for 4 years. It is mine. Who are you? Coming here looking for trouble. I am Fu Chun, the original title owner of this garage. 4 years ago, you occupied this place without authorization. Never got anyone's permission. Never paid any fees. Property management ledgers have it on record. You say this is yours. Can you produce a sales contract? Transfer records? Hearing this, the buzzcut man's eyes darted around. I rented the house from Joe Dahai. Rented the garage. I have a rental agreement. Why can't I use it? Don't be a busybody here. I grabbed the key information and immediately pressed him. Joe Dahai? Do you have his contact info? You rented it for 4 years. In those 4 years, did he ever come to the site? Did he ever coordinate follow-up matters with you? The buzzcut man was left speechless by my questions and instinctively took half a step back, blocking the view inside the garage. Why should I tell you? Leave quickly. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police. I took out my phone, opened the recording app, and held it up. Good. Call the police. I am the registered title owner. I came back to inspect my own real estate. Totally legal and compliant. You occupied someone else's titled property for 4 years without authorization, refusing to cooperate with verification. Who exactly should be calling the police? Right at that moment, my phone vibrated. Laogua's call came in. I put it on speaker. Laogua's urgent voice immediately rang out. Xingzi, I just checked with Director Wang. Surveillance confirms. These 4 years, it's always been this buzzcut guy using the garage. And every week, he goes in and out late at night, moving some sealed cardboard boxes, acting extremely suspiciously. Also, Director Wang said the day he moved in 4 years ago was the last time Joe Dahai appeared in the community. The buzzcut man heard this, and his pupils suddenly shrank. I stared at him, my tone suddenly changing. Joe Dahai hasn't shown up for 4 years, yet you've been occupying my garage all along. What exactly is your relationship? You deliberately didn't transfer the title, secretly occupying the space. What are you trying to hide? The buzzcut man stopped talking and suddenly reached out to pull down the rolling shutter door, trying to close the door to avoid the confrontation. But my reaction was extremely fast. I stepped forward and pressed against the door panel, deadlocking the falling shutter. If we don't clear this up today, don't even think about closing this door. The buzzcut man was sweating profusely from anxiety. What exactly do you want to do? Trespassing on private property. You are breaking the law. I sneered, my gaze sweeping over the stacked cardboard boxes inside. Private property? The files at the Real Estate Registration Center are black and white. The title owner is me. You occupied it without authorization for 4 years, and now you make counter-accusations. Take out your rental agreement. I'll verify it right now. The buzzcut man paused, his eyes darting around. The agreement? I don't have it on me. It's at home. Don't have it? 4 years of renting. 4 years of rent transfer records. You must have those. A photocopy of Joe Dahai's ID. Contact information. Surely you have those. You just said you rented it from him. Now you can't produce any proof. On what grounds are you occupying my garage? After hearing my words, the buzzcut man was completely speechless. I slowly released my grip, tossed my phone up slightly and gestured to him. I'm giving you 2 choices now. 1. Contact Joe Dahai right now. A 3-way confrontation. 2. I call the police immediately. File a case for illegal occupation of others' property. Let the police intervene and investigate. These words completely broke his psychological defenses. The buzzcut man's tone carried a hint of compromise. Brother, no need to blow this up. I'm just a hired worker. The higher-ups told me to guard this place. I've honestly guarded it for 4 years. I really don't know anything else. Who told you to guard it? Joe Dahai? The buzzcut man shook his head. Not Joe Dahai. I don't even know any Joe Dahai. I took the job through a middleman. The other party only told me to periodically manage the garage. Watch over these boxes. Don't let anyone get close. Pay me a salary every month. I'm really just a worker. I don't know anything. My heart jolted. The clues reversed once again. I originally thought Joe Dahai hired someone to occupy it. I didn't expect there to be a third-party middleman behind the scenes. This is not a simple sales dispute at all. It's a carefully planned concealment and hoarding operation. Who is the middleman? How to contact them? I don't know their real name. We usually only talk on the phone. The numbers change irregularly. We never meet. In 4 years, I've only been responsible for guarding, taking the money on time. I really didn't dare ask more. I was also afraid of causing trouble. Just stayed obediently. At this moment, I stared at the cardboard boxes in the garage with a sharp gaze. What's inside? The buzzcut man waved his hands. I don't know. They are all sealed. I've never opened them. The other party strictly forbade it. No touching. No checking. I really haven't touched anything. Every day I just come over to ventilate. Clean up. Make sure things are intact. That's all. Right at that moment, the sound of footsteps came from behind. Director Wang of Property Management hurried over with Lao Guo. Director Wang looked at the open garage and the two confronting each other and quickly stepped forward to speak. Little Fu, I'm clear about this. This young man has been here for 4 years. We've asked for his ID many times. He always says he has the owner's authorization. We don't have law enforcement power. Couldn't do anything about it. Seeing this, Lao Guo also walked to my side and spoke in a low voice. I just checked all the original records. The day after Zhou Dahai finished the transaction back then, he cancelled his local phone number, completely cut off all contact. He disappeared on purpose. Hearing this, I looked at the buzzcut man. Since you're just a worker, there's no need to take the fall for someone else. I have to appear in court in 3 days. Zhou Dahai is suing me for occupying the garage. Once I lose the lawsuit, not only do I have to pay damages, but all the details will be exposed word for word. To this, the buzzcut man sighed. This is how it is. My name is Zhao Lei. 4 years ago, I just graduated. Couldn't find a stable job. Was eager to make money. Someone posted a part-time job online at the time. The job description was guarding an underground garage. No heavy lifting. Just come over periodically to inspect. Ventilate. Monthly salary 5,000. Paid monthly. The perks were really good. After hearing this, I calmly pressed further. What was the platform for the part-time post? Did the other party specify this garage from the start? It was a niche part-time community, not a formal platform. The other party directly gave me the exact address. It was Garage 12, West District, Sunshine Garden. Told me to guard it around the clock, not allow anyone to get close, not to talk too much with property management or neighbors, especially not to inquire about the employer's info. At this, Lao was supplemented from the side. No wonder we couldn't find his registration info. The entire process was done anonymously, absolutely untraceable to the source. I was young back then, only thought about the high pay and easy work, didn't think too much. On my first day on the job, the garage was already filled with these sealed cardboard boxes. The other party told me I just needed to guard the place, ensure the items weren't lost, weren't damp. Everything else I didn't need to care about. In these 4 years, no one ever came to pick up goods or restock. No one interacted with me, only the salary arriving on time every month. Hearing this, I grabbed a key point. 4 years of salary, all transferred from the same account? No, every month the transfer account was different. All were personal accounts, no duplicates at all. I thought it was weird before, but I was afraid of losing the job, so I never investigated further. And occasionally, the other party would use strange numbers to call me, only to instruct me to guard the place well, not to expose it, never giving a reason. My thoughts raced to organize this, feeling more and more alarmed. Random account transfers, anonymous contacts, invisible the whole process. No one showed their face in 4 years. This wasn't normal goods storage. It was deliberately evading tracking, an operation to hide suspicious items. In these 4 years, have you really never seen Zhou Dahai even once? Absolutely never. I only learned his name because the higher-ups told me. I always thought this garage belonged to the employer in the first place. I was just a temporary guard. I had no idea there was a sales dispute, even less idea that the title was still under your name. Director Wang corroborated from the side. That's right. In our property visitor registration records, after 4 years ago, there is no further record of Zhou Dahai entering or exiting. A fog enveloped my mind. Zhou Dahai bought the house in full, deliberately didn't transfer the title, cancelled his contact info, vanished from the earth. Afterwards, the backstage employer anonymously hired someone to guard it, hiding items, evading investigation. After 5 years, Zhou Dahai suddenly showed up to sue me. The two threads seemed independent, but they were firmly tied to this garage. The purpose was definitely not simple. Then have you noticed anything unusual recently? Like, the employer suddenly contacting you, or someone secretly coming to the garage? Zhao Lei pondered for a moment. His eyes shifted. Yes, just 3 days ago, a strange number called me. Saying someone would come to inspect soon. Told me to guard the site to the death. If anything went wrong, I take full responsibility. 3 days ago, exactly when the court called me, the very same day the summons was delivered. It seemed the other party calculated everything. First having Zhou Dahai sue me, then instructing the guard to secure the place tightly. All to cover up the secret in the garage. Zhao Lei, you must be very clear now. You're being used. The mastermind is hiding in the dark, using high pay to manipulate you, making you keep their secret. Once something happens, you will be the only scapegoat. Hearing this, Zhao Lei tensed up. Then what should I do now? I really don't want a lawsuit on my hands. Cooperate with us and testify truthfully. All your transfer records, call logs, save all of them securely. These are crucial evidence. Now I am going to inspect the items inside the garage. You have no right to stop me. Hearing this, Zhao Lei quickly stepped aside, clearing the way. I will cooperate. I'll fully cooperate. I really haven't touched the things inside. Check as you please. I stepped into the garage. A dry, moldy cardboard smell wafted out. Lao Guo followed behind me, taking out his phone to record everything for evidence. It was too organized. It didn't look like ordinary personal items, more like bulk stored cargo. And unattended for 4 years. Yet not damp or rotting. It was clearly carefully selected, meticulously maintained. I casually walked to one of the outermost cardboard boxes. The surface had no logos at all. The identification text was completely blank, extremely well sealed. I reached out and lightly touched it. The box body was hard and quite heavy. It most likely contained neatly arranged hard items, not scattered junk. At this moment, Laogua asked in a low voice, "Can we open it and take a look?" I raised my hand to stop him. "Don't touch it yet. Opening it privately will break the chain of evidence. The case details are unclear right now. If it involves illegal items and we touch it without authorization, we might get ourselves in trouble." Director Wang nodded in agreement. Little Fu is right. The safest way right now is to call the police. Let the police come to seal and collect evidence, filing it completely legal and compliant. No one can find fault with it. I thoroughly agreed and immediately made the call. "Officer, I want to report a case. I am the title owner of Garage 12, West District, Sunshine Garden. The transaction for this garage was completed 5 years ago. The buyer refused to transfer the title, hid and lost contact, and entrusted someone else to occupy the space for 4 years without authorization, hiding a large number of unknown items. Now the buyer is maliciously suing me for illegal occupation of property, suspected of malicious litigation, a deliberate setup, requesting the police to come and investigate for evidence." Hanging up the phone, I turned to look at Zhao Lei. All the transfer details from the last 4 years, call logs from unknown numbers, chat records, sort them all out. Do not delete a single message. Back up and save everything. This is the key to clearing your suspicion. I'll do it right away. My phone hasn't deleted any records. While waiting for the police, Laogua reviewed the situation with me. "Xingzi. Now all the clues line up. Zhou Dahai is just a pawn on the stage. Someone is pulling the strings behind the scenes. He paid in full back then and immediately disappeared. It was just to turn the garage into an unnoticed hiding spot. Not suing for 5 years, not pursuing it, was because they didn't need exposure before. Now suddenly suing you most likely means the people behind this are getting ready to wrap up, or the items are about to be moved. They need to use a lawsuit to lock down the property dispute to cover up their operations." Hearing this, I agreed with his point. Exactly. They bet that for 5 years I wouldn't pay attention to the garage and that I wouldn't have evidence of the site. They bet Zhao Lei wouldn't dare cause trouble, wouldn't dare expose the inside story. They want to rely on a fake lawsuit to pour all the dirty water on me, to completely whitewash their hoarding behavior. 20 minutes later, officers from the local police station arrived on the scene. 2 officers brought body cameras to film the whole process, carefully checking my property rights info, transaction contract, and lawsuit summons. After listening to our explanation, the officer announced on the spot, "Currently, we preliminarily determined there is suspicion of malicious litigation. It will be transferred to the Criminal Investigation Department for verification. Mr. Fu, you don't need to worry about the lawsuit. The police will issue an on-site verification certificate as the key basis for your court evidence." Hearing this, my heart, hanging for 2 days, finally settled a bit. But I also knew clearly the real trouble was just beginning. The mastermind dared to lay a trap for 5 years. They definitely wouldn't stop just because of one investigation. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The court date arrived as scheduled. I brought all the transaction evidence, arriving early at the court to wait, while Laogua and Zhao Lei, as key witnesses, accompanied me throughout the trial. When the bell rang, at the plaintiff's seat, I saw Zhou Dahai for the first time in 5 years. Not seen in 5 years. His appearance hadn't changed much. He just lost the hearty demeanor from back then, and added a bit more shrewdness. The presiding judge took their seat. The trial officially began. The plaintiff's lawyer stood up first, reading the litigation request in court. The plaintiff, Zhou Dahai, purchased in full garage number 12 in the West District of Sunshine Garden 5 years ago, along with its attached storage room. Paid in full. Funds completely settled. The defendant, Fu Qing, as the original title owner, after the transaction was completed, refused to cooperate with the title transfer without justified reason, and has occupied the garage in question long-term, obstructing the plaintiff's normal use, severely infringing on the plaintiff's legal property rights, now requesting the court to order the defendant to cooperate with the transfer, and compensate the plaintiff for property occupation losses for 5 years, totaling 20,000 yuan. The rhetoric perfectly fit formal civil dispute procedures. You could tell it was prepared in advance. At this point, the presiding judge looked at me. "Defendant, regarding the plaintiff's litigation request, do you have any objections?" I immediately stood up, reporting to the presiding judge. "The plaintiff's statement is completely inconsistent with the facts. It constitutes malicious and false litigation. First, I fully completed the transaction 5 years ago, handed over the keys, fully performed all obligations of the seller, with no breach of contract. Second, I have never occupied the garage in question, nor have I obstructed the plaintiff's use. Third, the plaintiff deliberately concealed key facts, intentionally set a trap, and is suspected of malicious litigation." After finishing, I submitted all the evidence to the court. The plaintiff's lawyer's face changed slightly, immediately rebutting. "The transaction records submitted by the defendant can only prove a buyer-seller relationship exists. It cannot prove the defendant fulfilled the delivery and title transfer obligations. Real estate title is based on registration. The garage in question is still registered under the defendant's name. This is enough to prove the defendant refused to cooperate with the transfer. The fact of occupying the plaintiff's property." To this, Zhou Dahai sat upright in the plaintiff's seat, saying nothing the whole time, as if certain he would win. The defendant Zhao Lei testified in court. He truthfully recounted his 4 years of guarding experience. When Zhao Lei finished his last sentence, Zhou Dahai's face finally showed a ripple of emotion. I seized the moment and questioned Zhou Dahai directly in court. "Plaintiff Zhou Dahai, after you paid in full for the garage for 5 years, why did you never handle handle the title transfer? And why did you cancel your phone number? Completely losing contact. You claim I occupied the garage. Why did you never defend your rights in 5 years? Never communicated. Did you entrust someone else to occupy the garage? Hiding unknown items? A string of questions thrown out. Joe DeHaye finally stood up. I was busy with work. Had no time to handle the transfer. It wasn't a deliberate delay. I contacted the defendant multiple times previously to discuss the transfer. All were refused by the defendant. Out of options, I could only sue to defend my rights. As for the user of the garage and the unknown items, I know absolutely nothing. It has nothing to do with me. With just a few light words, he directly cleared himself of all ties, pushing all the blame completely onto me, perfectly evading all suspicious points. I immediately seized on his flaw and counterattacked in court. Presiding judge, the plaintiff claims to have contacted me multiple times to discuss the transfer, and that I refused. This is a complete lie. My phone number hasn't changed in 5 years. Social media accounts, residential address, workplace, all publicly transparent, never changed. The plaintiff over these 5 years has no call records, no chat records, no text message records to prove his rights defending communication behavior. It is completely fabricated out of thin air. Secondly, as a person with full capacity for civil conduct, after purchasing real estate for 5 years, not transferring the title violates basic common sense of home buying. A normal buyer would exhaust all means to complete the title transfer to protect their own rights. No one would leave large sum real estate for 5 years with property rights hanging. The plaintiff's abnormal operations are sufficient to prove his subjective existence. Deliberate evasion. The purpose of a premeditated setup. Speaking up to here, I continued presenting evidence. Third, the police have verified on site. Within the 4 years regarding the garage in question, it was anonymously occupied by strangers, hiding a large number of unmarked, unknown items. Recently, the personnel behind the scenes specifically instructed the guard to strictly guard against investigation. The time point completely synchronized with the time this lawsuit was filed. The plaintiff, as the sole buyer in the transaction, denies everything entirely regarding this, deliberately clearing himself of connection, full of suspicion. As soon as my words fell, the plaintiff's lawyer instantly fell into a passive position. The calmness on Joe DeHaye's face completely vanished. His fingertips tightened slightly. His eyes began to dodge, no longer as confident as before. The trial entered the final debate stage. I made my final concluding statement. This case is not a simple real estate transfer dispute. It is a malicious lawsuit deliberately planned by the plaintiff. The plaintiff exploited the public's cognitive bias regarding real estate registration rules, used the 5-year time gap, deliberately lost contact, refused to transfer title, secretly entrusted others to occupy the space and hide items. When the time was right, suddenly sued the original seller, intending through a fake lawsuit to seize a moral and legal advantage, to cover up their illegal hoarding behavior, framing an innocent party. I beseech the court to consider the full set of evidence, dismiss the plaintiff's litigation request, and legally hold the plaintiff accountable for malicious litigation. 10 minutes later, the presiding judge announced the verdict in court. The plaintiff, Joe DeHaye, lacks factual evidence for his claim. The logic of his statement violates common sense. There are false statements. Suspicion of malicious litigation. All litigation requests are dismissed. Regarding the property dispute over the garage in question, pending the police investigation into the source of the items and verification of related cases, further processing will be undertaken. The moment I heard the verdict, my nerves that had been tense for days finally relaxed completely. A confrontation, a total victory for me. But when I turned to look at the plaintiff's seat, I found Joe DeHaye was not panicked at all. Instead, he looked up at me. The corner of his mouth hooked into a cold smile. That smile made my heart sink. There was no joy of winning the case. Instead, a strong sense of unease arose. Winning this lawsuit might just be one part of the opponent's plan. The trial ended, court adjourned. Joe DeHaye turned and left, showing no embarrassment of losing the case. I quickly stepped forward to stop him, questioning him in a deep voice. 5 years of no contact, no title transfer, suddenly suing. What exactly are you trying to do? What are the things in the garage? Who is behind this? Joe DeHaye stopped in his tracks, turned his head to look at me. Fu Ching, you take things too seriously. This lawsuit is just the beginning. You think winning the trial means you really won? After Joe DeHaye said this, he didn't wait for me to press him further. Sidestepped past me, strode out of the courthouse hall, quickly disappearing into the crowd. No matter how I called out to him, he never looked back. I stood there, the unease in my heart magnifying infinitely. At this moment, Lagwal walked to my side. This guy is definitely a problem. Usually after losing a case, people are either furious or fearful. But him? Frighteningly calm. It's obvious he has other schemes. I nodded. Yeah, he's just a pawn on the stage. The real backup plan is behind the scenes. This lawsuit was never the goal, just paving the way. Afterward, I turned to look at Zhao Lei. You must stay highly vigilant recently. Don't go out alone. Don't easily trust strangers. Back up and save all your phone records. If you notice anyone following you, tell me and the police immediately. Zhao Lei nodded quickly, his face tense. I got it. I'll definitely be careful recently. Won't wander around. I thought after the trial ended, there would be a brief period of peace, but I didn't expect the opponent's revenge to come so fast. Have you had any civil disputes recently? Pending lawsuits? I responded calmly. Yes, I just concluded a malicious lawsuit yesterday. I won the case in court without any illegal or non-compliant behavior. Using work privileges to embezzle others' property. Suspected of economic disputes. Poor character. Even attached a screenshot of the court summons. The company executives received the report this morning and directly issued a verification notice requiring all your project work to be suspended. Suspended for self-examination. Awaiting the company disciplinary inspection team's result. Hearing this, anger instantly flared in my heart. Too despicable. This was the opponent acting out of spite after losing the case. Malicious revenge. Deliberately smearing me. Hearing this, the leader's side. I believe in your character. You've worked diligently for 8 years, never made a mistake, but the company has its rules. Public sentiment and case-related issues must be verified clearly. You take a suspension first. Submit all evidence of your court victory as soon as possible. Case explanations. Cooperate with the verification. Prove your innocence quickly. I didn't argue and accepted it calmly. I will cooperate with all company investigations. The truth will definitely be found out. After saying that, I walked out of the leader's office. Immediately after, I dialed the number of the police officer handling the case. Officer, I need to file a supplementary report. After winning the trial yesterday, I suffered an anonymous malicious report from the other party and was suspended by my company for self-examination. The other party is suspected of retaliatory actions. I request the police to merge this into the case investigation. We anticipated the other party would have follow-up actions. We are currently tracking the behind-the-scenes accounts and transfer clues. Submit the evidence of the report letter as soon as possible. We will follow up immediately. After being suspended, I didn't slack off at all. Threw myself wholeheartedly into the case investigation. At the same time, progress came from the police side, but it brought bad news. I received a call from the investigating officer and immediately asked, "Officer, any new progress on the case? Were you able to find the behind-the-scenes clues?" The officer's tone was helpless. "We checked all of Zhao Lei's transfer accounts for the past 4 years. Call numbers. The source of the part-time job community. All the lines are dead. All transfer accounts are shell personal accounts registered temporarily. The real name information is all fake identities, untraceable to a real person. All the calling numbers are temporary virtual numbers, discarded after use, without any real name records. The niche community where the job was posted has been completely disbanded. Back-end data cleared. No residue left." Hearing this, my heart sank. All cut off? Yes. The other party's anti-reconnaissance ability is extremely strong, evading real name registration entirely, evading traceability. All clues have been completely zeroed out, leaving no traceable marks behind. Also, we checked Zhou Dahai's personal information. He has no fixed job under his name, no stable income, no properties or vehicles. Bank statements are unusually clean. In 5 years, besides the full payment for the house purchase, there are no other large transactions. We absolutely cannot find the financial link between him and the mastermind. Unusually clean. That is the biggest abnormality. A normal person living for 5 years must have daily expenses, income and expenditure records, but Zhou Dahai's account is so clean it looks deliberately laundered. It's obvious someone helped him evade all investigation risks in advance. Thinking of this, I continued asking, "What about the unknown items in the garage? Can we preliminarily test what they are?" To this, the officer's reply was, "The items are perfectly sealed. We preliminarily opened and sampled a few outer cardboard boxes. Inside are neatly arranged paper documents, hardcover materials, no flammables or explosives, no contraband or dangerous goods, but all the documents are entirely encrypted and bound, hermetically sealed. Without the decryption key, we can't view the contents. Forcible dismantling will result in the document's destruction. Currently, we can only confirm they are paper material. The specific contents and purpose are completely unknown." After hanging up, I sat on the sofa at home, calmly reviewing all the details. Zhou Dahai has no income, no assets, no trace, just a clean pawn on the front stage. The mastermind controls all resources, able to clear network data, launder financial records, evade police investigation. Their power and connections far exceed my imagination. At this time, Laug was sent a message. "Xingzi, I used my connections in real estate and checked Zhou Dahai's background. He's from out of town. 5 years ago, he suddenly came here to buy a house. After buying it, he immediately disappeared. Before and after that, there are absolutely no traces of him living locally. It's as if he came here specifically to buy this garage. Specifically for the garage." This sentence instantly awakened me. Their goal was never buying and selling a garage, but using Zhou Dahai's identity to secure this location, hidden, covered by surveillance, an underground garage with extreme privacy, as a long-term hiding spot for confidential material. A 5-year layout, just for a hidden hiding spot. What kind of materials are they? Worth them going to such great lengths, taking such risks? Just as I was deep in thought, Zhao Lei suddenly sent an urgent message. "Fu Qing, something happened. I just noticed my salary transfer records from these 4 years. A portion of them inexplicably vanished. My phone system automatically cleared some of the transaction history." Seeing Zhao Lei's message, my scalp instantly went numb. Afterward, I immediately dialed his number. "Don't panic. Explain it slowly and clearly. What exactly is the situation? Which part of the records disappeared?" Zhao Lei's voice carried obvious panic. "This morning, as you said, I backed up all the transfer records again. As a result, I found that some of the salary transfer records from the first 2 years are gone. I didn't delete them manually. They were automatically cleared by the phone system. Several transactions are missing from the banking app's backend too. I just compared it with the screenshots I saved earlier. Exactly 4 transfers are missing. Did any unknown device log into your phone? Did you click on any unknown links?" "No, I never click on unknown links. My phone is always with me. Only I know the password. And I just received a blank text message earlier from an unknown location number. Opened it and there was nothing. Immediately after, the transaction records disappeared. Remote intrusion. Remotely wiping data. The other party doesn't just have strong anti-reconnaissance skills. They also possess professional cyber skills. I immediately instructed, turn off your phone right now. Do not operate any phone functions. Take your phone. Go to the police station immediately. Hand it to the police for technical forensics. Do not try to recover the data yourself to avoid secondary destruction. Hanging up the phone, I didn't dare delay. Immediately set off for the police station to meet up with Zhao Lei. After arriving at the police station, the technical officers immediately conducted forensic testing on Zhao Lei's phone. Half an hour later, the technical officer gave a conclusion with a grave expression. The phone was remotely invaded by an anonymous overseas IP. A data clearing program executed automatically in the background, targeting and deleting the early transfer records. No operation logs. Untraceable. The other party's technical means are professional. This is precision, targeted evidence destruction. Ordinary forensic methods cannot recover the data. The only remaining fragmented clues were completely severed. At this moment, the investigating officer looked at me. Speaking seriously, the opponent's level and professionalism far exceed ordinary civil and criminal cases. It's highly likely an organized, team-based professional operation with clear division of labor, experienced methods, leaving no flaws throughout. We have already reported to the Municipal Cybersecurity Department to intervene for a special investigation. I was silent for a long time. Then I asked, since that's the case, then why didn't they just transfer the items directly and completely withdraw, instead of going through so much trouble to sue me, to retaliate against me? Most likely the time hasn't come yet. These materials can't be moved for now, cannot be transferred. Once moved, their tracks would be exposed. They need a lawsuit to turn the garage into a site of property dispute, thereby rationalizing the prolonged stay of the items, evading subsequent investigation and suspicion, simultaneously using the dispute to tie you down. Divert attention, make everyone focus on the civil dispute, and ignore the suspicious points of the items themselves. The officer's words made me figure out the entire layout. The opponent wanted to use a civil dispute to cover up the secret of illegal hoarding for 5 years, perfectly whitewashing all their operations. Right at that moment, my phone received a strange text message. Stop right here. Don't investigate any further. It will do you no good. I immediately handed the message to the officer to look at. Officer, I received a strange threatening message. The other party must have noticed that we reported it for investigation and started directly warning me. The officer quickly recorded the message content and immediately tracked it. The number is a temporary virtual number. Cannot be located. Cannot be traced. It automatically deregistered after sending. The other party has a very strong purpose. It's just a pure warning, leaving no information behind. Zhao Lei stood to the side, so scared his face was pale, trembling all over. They can even remotely delete phone data and casually send threatening texts? This is too terrifying. How about we just stop investigating? I'm really afraid something will happen. I understood his fear. An ordinary young man, suddenly dragged into a hidden storm meticulously planned for 5 years, experiencing network intrusions, personal danger. Panic was inevitable. To this, I comforted him directly. Don't be afraid. The police are protecting you the whole time. You are just a witness. You bear no responsibility. The more they warn us, the more it proves our investigation is right. It proves they are guilty. Backing down now will only let them succeed completely, and we will never be able to prove our innocence. At this point, the officer also spoke up. Rest assured, we will provide you with personal protection. Recently, we will step up patrols around your residence and routes. The opponent won't dare easily make drastic moves. Even so, Zhao Lei was still uneasy, clearly completely intimidated. After leaving the police station, I deliberately drove a roundabout route to observe, staying alert to what was behind me the whole time. Sure enough, I found a black sedan following me from a moderate distance. Damn it, actually tailing me. What are they trying to do? I killed the engine and sat quietly by the roadside. A moment later, the black sedan also stopped not far away. The people inside didn't get out. Through the car windows, they faced off with me from a distance. I took out my phone and took photos of the black sedan for evidence, then immediately dialed the officer's number, reporting the trailing vehicle's information in real time, license plate number and location. 5 minutes later, the black sedan seemed to notice my actions, quickly started the vehicle and sped away from the scene, completely disappearing into the traffic. The officer called back to inform me. The license plate is cloned, with no real registration information. Vehicle tracing failed. It was another operation by the opponent to deliberately evade tracking. That night, I packed my personal important documents and moved into a hotel temporarily, no longer returning to my regular apartment to avoid the other party's snooping and harassment, simultaneously informing my family not to go out recently. Don't trust messages from strangers. Take protective measures. Late at night, my phone lit up again. It was another strange text message. You won the lawsuit. Lost your future. If you keep investigating, it will be your life next. I stared at the threatening text on my phone screen, replaying the transaction details from 5 years ago, replaying them over and over. Back then I was eager to change houses, bundled and sold the property and garage at a low price. Zhou Dahai paid in full. No haggling, no picking faults. The transaction was extremely straightforward. At the time, I just thought I met a decisive buyer. Thinking back now, everywhere was abnormal. Ordinary home buyers would inspect the house repeatedly, verify the property rights, haggle over the price, worry about risks. Only Zhou Dahai had absolutely no concerns throughout, as if he didn't care about the real estate itself at all, only cared about securing the garage space quickly. I suddenly remembered a completely forgotten detail. On the day of the transaction, after signing the contract and transferring the funds, Zhou Dahai casually asked me me a question. Brother Fu, the location of your garage is very hidden, far from the main road with surveillance, quiet all year round. Is it true that very few people come around to patrol? At the time, I just treated it as casual chatter. Casually replied that the community security was good, but very few people patrolled there. Thinking about it now, he wasn't just casually chatting at all. It was to precisely confirm the concealment conditions of the site. I immediately turned on my computer, dug out the community renovation notice from back then. The comprehensive renovation of the Sunshine Garden underground garage, full surveillance coverage, and barrier gate upgrades. It started exactly in the third month after my transaction was completed 5 years ago. The timing matched perfectly. The opponent precisely timed the community renovation and the surveillance upgrade node, securing the garage in advance. Before the renovation, old surveillance had many blind spots. Patrols were lax, making it easy for them to move in quickly and store items. After the renovation, with full new surveillance coverage, they could instead use the formal surveillance to prevent outsiders from getting close, perfectly sealing off the site from beginning to end. Every step was precisely calculated, planned in advance, without a single misstep. Thinking of this, I immediately contacted Laoguo. Laoguo, help me check something. 5 years ago, a month before and after I sold the garage, in the West District of Sunshine Garden, were there other strangers looking at properties in bulk or records of renting spaces? Focus on short-term anonymous rentals and information about temporarily buying up sites. Laoguo immediately began investigating. Half an hour later, he called back, his tone shocked. Xingzi, there really is a problem. During that time, 5 years ago, several groups of strangers came to look at the underground garages in the West District. They didn't ask about the price, only asked about privacy and patrol frequency. Looked and then left. No deals made, no haggling. In the end, only Zhou Dahai decisively bought your garage. So it wasn't just Zhou Dahai back then. The team behind the scenes sent multiple people to screen sites, ultimately deciding on my location, the environment, the garage with the most suitable privacy for hiding items. Afterward, they arranged for Zhou Dahai to handle the transaction, perfectly executing the plan. They were never filtering garages, but a place to hide securely for 5 years. Unnoticed, an uninvestigated hiding spot. But what kind of materials? Worth expending manpower, wealth, time, planning for a whole 5 years. Just as I was mired in doubt, the municipal cybersecurity department sent an urgent message. The officer's tone was urgent. Mr. Fu, we tracked down a key clue. The anonymous IP that wiped Zhao Lei's phone data and sent the threatening messages. Once logged in, 3 years ago, logged into the intranet of the project cost estimation company you work for. This sentence from the police officer completely overturned all my understanding, making my whole body run cold. I asked in disbelief, logged into my project's intranet? Are you sure it was my work system? I'm just an ordinary project cost engineer. My work intranet only has project blueprints, project budgets, and construction materials. There is no confidential content at all. Why would they hack into it? We don't know that yet, but we verified that 3 years ago, this anonymous IP logged into your intranet account multiple times late at night, repeatedly viewing the old city renovation and industrial park construction project blueprints you handled, staying for extremely long periods. Highly targeted. Old city renovation, industrial park construction. My brain worked rapidly, instantly linking all the clues. Sunshine Garden community was exactly within the old city renovation zone planned 5 years ago, and I was the core cost engineer for that area's renovation project back then, handling all blueprints, planning, demolition, and construction materials from start to finish. I was completely stunned. Cold sweat streamed down my back. So that's how it is. All the coincidences weren't coincidences at all. 5 years ago, I was in charge of the old city renovation project for the Sunshine Garden area, frequently entering and leaving the community, familiar with the site, knew the layout of all the buildings and garages. The team behind the scenes targeted my identity, anticipated that I would change houses and sell the garage, laid out the plan in advance and waited. They first hacked into my work intranet via an anonymous IP, figured out my work trajectory, house-changing plan, and garage information, then precisely arranged for Zhou Dahai to step forward to buy my garage as a hiding spot. What they had their eyes on wasn't the garage, but the old city renovation project materials that passed through my hands. The things hidden in the garage are definitely related to project demolition and planning scandals. At this very moment, I felt a bone-chilling cold. I have been in the industry for 8 years, abided by the bottom line, never participated in any non-compliant operation. I never expected that because of a normal work project, I would be secretly set up for 5 years and reduced to a pawn in someone else's conspiracy. The police officer continued to inform me. We found upon further investigation that the old city renovation project for that area back then had multiple planning changes and budget micro-adjustment records. The alteration processes appeared compliant, but were actually full of suspicious points. Among the personnel who approved the changes, several had resigned long ago and lost contact. Their identity information cannot be verified. The breakthrough finally appeared. I immediately stood up. I have retained the full set of original project materials from back then, the unchanged initial blueprints, and the complete budget ledgers. I can cooperate with the police to cross-check and verify, to find the discrepancies in the materials. This was my only and most crucial trump card to turn the tables. After that, I went home overnight, dug out a portable hard drive I had kept safe for years. It's stored since I started my career. The original materials of all my projects, especially from 5 years ago. The Sunshine Garden area. never deleted or modified. Early the next morning, I took the hard drive to the Municipal Police Bureau, cooperating with cybersecurity officers and criminal investigation officers to carry out cross-checking. Police technicians retrieved fragments of the encrypted materials sealed in the garage and checked them one by one against my original materials. 3 hours later, the verification results came out. The truth finally surfaced. The technical officer spoke with a grave tone. It's a perfect match. All the encrypted paper materials sealed in the garage are all the draft alteration documents for the Sunshine Garden Old City renovation project. Private modification records, fake budget vouchers, non-compliant visa/approval receipts. There are multiple private, non-compliant operations here. Relevant personnel secretly altered the construction blueprints, falsely reported project budgets, forged construction approvals, fraudulently obtained special renovation funds. Through layers of manipulation, they intercepted massive amounts of project funds, and this batch of privately altered, supposedly destroyed, replaced original non-compliant drafts, or exactly what they dared not keep in the company system, dared not store in any public place. The core evidence of their crimes that could only be secretly hidden in a private garage. Thinking of this, I suddenly understood everything. No wonder they didn't hesitate to scheme for 5 years. Once these materials were exposed, everyone involved in the non-compliant project operations back then would be held accountable and investigated, suspected of economic crimes. The officer nodded. Exactly. After the project wrapped up back then, the relevant personnel quickly cleared the system traces, whitewashed the public records, leaving only this batch of original paper evidence, which couldn't be electronically destroyed. If handled collectively, it would easily leave traces. That's why they needed an absolutely hidden, uninvestigated private place for long-term storage. Your untransferred garage, plus your strict, law-abiding, and trouble-avoiding personality, made it their flawless, optimal choice. Regarding this, I stared at the two completely different budget ledgers on the computer. These people are too bold. Old City renovation is a livelihood project. The special funds are all meant for area renovation and resident resettlement. They actually dared to openly falsify and embezzle public funds. It's not just simply inflating the budget. By comparing with the original blueprints you provided, we found that many planning changes back then had no public notification records. They privately reduced greening facilities, tampered with the underground pipeline routing, and cut corners on construction material standards. On the surface, they delivered a qualified project, but in reality, they cut corners the entire time, operating in the dark. At this moment, Laugua also arrived at the police station. Standing behind me and looking at the two sets of data, he gritted his teeth and said, "No wonder after the renovation was completed back then, many homeowners in the community complained. Walls cracking, poor drainage, unreasonable parking space planning. Property management kept passing the buck and shifting blame, and official inspections always showed everything was compliant. It turns out the original evidence for all the problems was completely hidden by them in the garage. All the fragmented legacy issues were now completely linked up and closed the loop. 5 years ago, the project was completed. The involved team whitewashed public data, destroyed system drafts, and sealed the only paper evidence of their crimes in my garage. They used Joe DeHai's stranger identity to complete the transaction, deliberately lost contact, then hired Zhao Lei to guard it anonymously, completely cutting off all connections, safely hiding it for 5 years. And this sudden lawsuit against me wasn't picking a fight for no reason at all. We also found out recently, the Municipal Bureau has been launching a special retrospective investigation into Old City renovation projects. All livelihood projects from 5 years ago must be completely re-audited and verified. The other party caught wind of this, knowing this batch of evidence could be exposed at any time. They had to lay out a plan in advance to protect themselves. The next day, the Municipal Bureau's special investigation order had been issued. The entire administrative building instantly entered a state of high-speed operation, combined with the full set of original project materials I provided. The encrypted evidence sealed in the garage, plus Zhao Lei's guard testimony, the 5-year transaction records, and the full case file of the malicious lawsuit. All the fragmented clues were thoroughly pieced together into a complete chain of criminal evidence. The investigating officer, holding the cross-check data ledger, said to us with a serious expression, "Now we can be 100% sure. The non-compliant operations of the Sunshine Garden Old City renovation project 5 years ago was a gang-based, systematic economic crime. The involved personnel exploited project renovation loopholes, tampered with blueprints, falsely inflated the project workload, and fraudulently obtained National Special Renovation Fund. The amount involved is massive. The paper materials sealed in the garage are the only and most complete original evidence of the crime for the entire case. Since the evidence is solid, can you make the arrests now?" The officer nodded. The cybersecurity department has locked onto all tracing clues. The 3 core staff members who were responsible for project approval, blueprint review, and fund disbursement back then had resigned and lost contact long ago. But through the hidden financial lines over the 5 years, virtual IP login records, and anonymous transfer ledgers, we successfully pinpointed their hiding locations. At the same time, Joe DeHai, as a key front stage pawn, is suspected of assisting in hiding criminal evidence, malicious false litigation, and retaliating against a whistleblower. Arrests will be carried out immediately. The arrest order was instantly issued. Multiple police units struck simultaneously. In less than 2 hours, news came from the police station. Joe DeHai was caught on the spot in a rental house in the suburbs. This time, he completely gave up resistance and and truthfully confessed everything. A week later, the Municipal Bureau completed all the wrap-up verification work for the case. All the dark secrets of the Sunshine Garden Old City renovation project from 5 years ago were completely made public. Upon joint verification by the police and disciplinary inspection departments, the 3 core project staff members back then used the convenience of their positions to collude with outsourced teams. In the Old City renovation project, they privately tampered with construction blueprints, reduced greening and pipeline facilities, cut corners on construction materials, and falsely inflated project workload. Through methods of forging approval receipts and altering budget ledgers, they fraudulently obtained National Special Livelihood renovation funds amounting to over 3 million yuan. After the project was completed, in order to cover up their crimes, they deliberately wiped the non-compliant records in the company and government systems, taking all the paper criminal evidence that couldn't be electronically destroyed, carefully filtering them and hiding them in the untransferred garage under my name. They anticipated my law-abiding personality and busy work schedule, knowing I wouldn't pay attention to an idle garage, convinced that this was the safest secret hiding spot, safely hiding the evidence for a full 5 years. This year, when the city initiated the retrospective investigation of old projects, the individuals had a premonition that their crimes were about to be exposed and immediately triggered their backup plan. They arranged for the pawn, Zhou Dahai, to file a false lawsuit, using a civil property dispute to cover up the core truth of hiding criminal evidence in the garage. After losing the lawsuit, they made anonymous report, remotely destroyed evidence, and engaged in stalking and threatening, attempting to completely silence me, shifting all suspicion onto me, vainly attempting to escape by stealth. In the end, the 3 core involved personnel, on suspicion of embezzling public funds, job-related crimes, and forging official documents, were legally criminally detained. Awaiting them are severe legal sanctions. Additionally, the involved outsourced teams and the network technicians were all caught in one swoop. The legacy issues of Sunshine Garden community from back then, such as wall cracks, poor drainage, and missing facilities, were all registered by government departments, initiating a second free renovation and rectification, practically making up for the livelihood shortcomings of the past, giving all homeowners a satisfactory explanation. As for garage number 12, West District, Sunshine Garden under my name, the court officially revoked all property dispute records, combining the complete transaction evidence and the case conclusions. It legally ruled that the transaction from back then was valid. Subsequently, it could cooperate to finish the title transfer process, completely severing this entanglement that lasted for 5 years. The storm completely came to an end. My life and work returned to normal. In my spare time, I went back to Sunshine Garden again. Today's community has taken on a completely new look, a scene of stability and peace. Lovwa stood with me at the garage entrance, sighing with emotion. Who would have thought that a seemingly ordinary garage sales dispute hid such a massive project scandal behind it? These 5 years, thank goodness you were calm enough and rational enough, and weren't broken by the opponent's traps. I nodded slightly, my gaze clear. All the conspiracies and tricks in the world ultimately cannot defeat the truth in one's true heart. They bet that I would panic, would compromise, and would just accept bad luck. They bet that the 5-year time gap could smooth over all traces, but they forgot that the truth will never stay buried forever. Those who stick to their bottom lines will never be swallowed by the darkness. In this life, things are complex and confusing. Hold fast to your true heart.